Hello dear students, this is Milind Patwardhan, your course instructor for the course on Mathematical Physics. Welcome to 4Pi Academy. Now in this lecture on Mathematical Physics, we are going to discuss the topic that is matrices, and in this lecture we are going to cover the subtopics, that is types of matrices. So we are going to discuss the various types of matrices in this topic, their properties, then how to find the adjoint of a matrix, then how to find the inverse of a matrix, and some solved problems from the previous year question papers. So let us begin with the types of matrices. So there are various types of matrices. The first type of matrix is called as a row matrix. So if a matrix has only one row and any number of columns, then it is called as a row matrix. For example, like this. So this is a matrix which has the elements like 2, 7, 3, 9 and so on. So here it has only one row. And it has large number of columns. So this is column 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So any number of columns but only one row, such matrix is called as a row matrix. So we are going to just have a quick revision of the topics, revision of the types of matrices, because all these things are very easy and you have already gone through it. So this will be just a revision or a recap of what you know. So then the column matrix. So a matrix having only one column and any number of rows is called as a column matrix. So only one column. So here there is one column and the number of rows are more. So if there is only one column and large number of rows like 3, 4, 5 and any number of rows, then it is called as a column matrix. Then the next type of matrix is called as a null matrix or zero matrix. So any matrix in which all the elements are zeros is called as the zero matrix or null matrix. So here such matrix having all its elements, they are zero, and therefore it is called as a null matrix or a zero matrix. Then square matrix. So a matrix in which the number of rows is exactly equal to the number of columns, then such matrix is called as a square matrix. So here you can see that the number of rows are 2. So these are the 2 rows and there are 2 columns. So this is column 1 and column 2. So if the number of rows is exactly equal to the number of columns, then it is called as a square matrix. So this matrix is represented as a 2 by 2 matrix. So 2 by 2 stands for 2 rows and 2 columns. So it is called as a square matrix. If the matrix is a 3 by 3 matrix, means if there are 3 rows and 3 columns, then it is also a square matrix. If it is a 4 by 4 matrix, that is 4 rows and 4 columns, then it is also a square matrix. So for a square matrix, the number of rows should be exactly equal to the number of columns. Okay. Then the diagonal matrix. Now a square matrix is called as a diagonal matrix if all its non-diagonal elements are 0. For example, here the elements along this diagonal, they are non-zero elements like 1, 3, 4. They are the elements on the diagonal and they are non-zero, while rest of the elements other than the diagonal elements, they are called as the non-diagonal elements, and if the non-diagonal elements are 0, then such matrix is called as a diagonal matrix. So here it simply means that only the diagonal elements are present while rest of the elements are 0. Then scalar matrix. A diagonal matrix in which all the diagonal elements are equal to a scalar, say k, then it is called as a scalar matrix. For example, here this scalar matrix is nothing but it is a diagonal matrix, but all the elements of the diagonal matrix are equal to some scalar number. So here again the non-diagonal elements are 0. So here the non-diagonal elements are 0, while the diagonal elements are equal to 2. So each diagonal element is equal to that scalar, which is say k. Another example is given over here. So this is again a square matrix, and here all the diagonal elements are 0, non-diagonal elements are 0, and all the diagonal elements are equal to a scalar which is equal to -6. So if A is equal to Aij of n by n means it is a square matrix, then is a scalar matrix if Aij is equal to 0 for for I not equal to j, and it is equal to k when I is equal to j. So when I is equal to j, it means that for these elements I is equal to j, and for that its value is k, while for these elements here I is not equal to j, and for that the value of Aij is equal to 0. Then unit or identity matrix. So a matrix, square matrix is called as a unit matrix if all the diagonal elements are unity and the non-diagonal elements are 0. So you know what is mean by unit matrix or identity matrix. It is represented by symbol I, which is equal to this. So it is also basically a square matrix in which the diagonal elements are always equal to unity, that is 1 1 1, and while the rest of the non-diagonal elements are 0. So this is a 3 by 3 unit matrix, this is a 2 by 2 unit matrix. Then the next is a symmetric matrix. A square matrix will be called as a symmetric matrix if for all the values of I and j, that is Aij is equal to Aji, that is A transpose is equal to A. This A dash, it means that it is the transpose of A. For example, if I have the matrix like this, AHG, HBF and GFC, then you can see that for the element which is this is my element which is A11, that is first row, first column. This is the element of first row and first column. This is the element which is A12, that is first row, second column. This is A13, that is first row, third column, and so on. So this element will be A21, that is second row, first column. So when I interchange the value of I and j, and if they are equal, then such matrix is called as a symmetric matrix. So if A12 is H and A21 is H, then they are called as a symmetric matrix. So here A13 is equal to A31, and here this is A23 is equal to A32. So if this is so, then it is called as a symmetric matrix. Then next is a skew symmetric matrix. A square matrix is called as a skew symmetric matrix if Aij is equal to -ji for all values of I and j, or A transpose is equal to -a, and here all the diagonal elements are 0. So it is also a square matrix with the thing that all the diagonal elements are 0. So here you have to remember that all the diagonal elements for skew symmetric matrix are 0, and for Aij it should be -aji. So here this is my element which is A12, and if you look at the element which is A21, then A12 is equal to -A21 and vice versa. So here this -h becomes h, here this -f becomes f, here this -g becomes g. So at the positions of the positions of Aij will become equal to -aji for all values of I and j, and if the diagonal elements are 0, then such matrix is called as a skew symmetric matrix. Then next is a triangular matrix. It is also known as a echelon form. A square matrix in which all of those elements below the leading diagonal are 0, then such matrix is called as a upper triangular matrix. So here below the major diagonal, leading diagonal, this is the diagonal, this is the leading diagonal of the matrix, and if all the elements below the leading diagonal, if they are 0, then such matrix is called as a upper triangular matrix. So above the diagonal elements, all the elements are non-zero, while below the diagonal all the elements are 0, such matrix is called as upper triangular matrix. Now then a square matrix in which all of whose elements above the leading diagonal are 0, above the leading diagonal are 0, is called as a lower triangular matrix, like here. So this is the leading diagonal, and all the elements below the leading diagonal are there, but above the leading diagonal, if the elements are 0, then above the leading diagonal, if the elements are 0, then it is called as a lower triangular matrix. So this is called as a lower triangular matrix. Then next is a transpose of a matrix. If in a given matrix A we interchange the rows and the corresponding columns, then the new matrix obtained is called as a transpose of the matrix A, and it is denoted by A dash or A transpose. So this A transpose means simply you have to interchange the rows by columns and columns by rows. So if you have the matrix A like 2 3 4 1 0 5 6 7 8, then the A transpose is represented by A dash, or it is also represented by a symbol like A, and at the top of that there is a symbol like T. So that will be equal to, here you have to completely replace this column by row. So this column will take the form as this row, which is 2 1 6. Then you have to simply replace this column 3 0 7 by this row, and you have to replace this column 4 5 8 by this row. So if you replace the columns by rows or rows by columns, then or you can say that this row, that is 2 3 4, is represented by this column. So if the rows are replaced by columns or columns are replaced by rows, then it is called as a A transpose. Then next is a orthogonal matrix. So a square matrix A is called an orthogonal matrix if the product of the matrix A and the transpose matrix A dash is an identity matrix. So you have to remember this property, that if A into A transpose is equal to I, that is identity matrix, then it is called as a orthogonal matrix. Then one more property over here, that if the determinant of A is equal to 1, then such matrix is called as a proper matrix. Such matrix is called as a proper matrix. So for orthogonal condition means the matrix A, when it is multiplied by its transpose, that is A transpose or A dash, then it should be equal to the identity matrix. Then next is a conjugate of a matrix. So let us consider that this matrix A has its elements as 1 plus I, 2 minus 3I, 4, then 7 plus 2I minus I, then 3 minus 2I. So this is a 2 by 3 matrix, that is there are 2 rows and 3 columns, and here the elements, they are having the complex numbers. So in such case, if you want to take the conjugate of a matrix, then the conjugate of matrix A is represented by this symbol, that is A bar, and here the conjugate means you have to simply replace this I by minus I. So wherever there is a sign of I, you have to replace this I by minus I, so you will get the conjugate of that matrix. So A conjugate is represented as A bar, which is equal to, now this element will become A minus I, so it will be A minus I, then this is 2 minus 3I, so if I replace this I by minus I, then it will be minus minus plus, so that will be 2 plus 3I. So you have to just change the sign of I, and you will get the conjugate of the matrix. So here this 4 will remain as it is, then this 7 plus 2I, for this it will become 7 minus 2I, then for minus I it will become plus I, then 3 minus 2I, for this it will become 3 plus 2I. So you have to just keep in mind that you have to change the sign of I, and you will get the conjugate of the matrix. Then Then transpose of the conjugate of matrix A is denoted by this type of symbol, that is a raised to theta. So the transpose conjugate of the matrix A is known as it is denoted by a raised to theta. And how to find it? Suppose this A, from the previous example we have seen that it is 1 plus I, 2 minus 3I, 4 and so on. So we can find out the conjugate of that matrix by replacing this I by minus I. So we'll get its conjugate. So first we can find the conjugate of that matrix, and then you have to take the transpose of that conjugate matrix. So transpose of that conjugate matrix will be, you have to replace these rows by columns or columns by rows. So this is a 2 by 3 matrix. So if you replace the rows by columns, then it will be 1 minus I, then then 7 minus 2I, and this will be 2 plus 3I, 4. So here we are going to replace this row by this column, this row by this column over here, and this row by this column over here. So we get the transpose of this conjugate matrix, and that can be written as like this: A bar raised to T, or it can be written as A bar raised to dash, and that is nothing but the transpose conjugate of the matrix. So the transpose conjugate for this symbol, it is replaced as A raised to theta. So this is the meaning of transpose conjugate. Then next is a unitary matrix. So a square matrix A is said to be unitary if transpose conjugate of the matrix multiplied by A is equal to the identity matrix. Then it is called as a unitary matrix. So if we have a matrix A which is given as 1 plus I by 2 minus 1 plus I by 2, 1 plus I by 2 and 1 minus I by 2, so these are the elements of the matrix A. Now if you find the transpose conjugate of this A, which is A raised to theta, you can try this on yourself from this method. That is, first you have to find out the conjugate of this matrix A, and then you have to take the transpose of that conjugate. So that will be the transpose conjugate of the matrix, which is A raised to theta. You try it yourself, and try to take the product of A with A raised to theta. So when you take the product of A with A raised to theta, then it is equal to I, which is the identity matrix. So this is the property of a unitary matrix, and if this is so, that if A into A raised to theta, if it is equal to I, that is identity matrix, then in such case this matrix A is called as the unitary matrix. It is called as unitary matrix. Then next is a Hermitian matrix. A square matrix A is equal to Aij is called Hermitian matrix if every ijth element of A is equal to the conjugate complex jith element of A. So in other words, we can say that Aij is equal to Aji bar. So for example, if you have the matrix like this, 1, 2 plus 3i, then 3 plus I, and so on. So you can see these are the matrix elements. Then here you can see that these are the positions of the matrix, which is Aij, and if you look at the positions of the Ajth column, Ajth element, then you will find that here they are the complex, they are the conjugate of each other. So here this 2 plus 3i and 2 minus 3i, so this is, you replace this I by minus I, so it will be conjugate for this element. Similarly for this element 3 plus I, the conjugate part is 3 minus I, and for this element 1 minus 2i, the conjugate is 1 plus 2i. So if this is the case, That is, if for Aij is equal to Aji bar, where bar represents the conjugate, so other than the diagonal elements, if this is the case, then such matrix is called as a Hermitian matrix. Then the necessary and sufficient condition for matrix A to be Hermitian, to be called as a Hermitian matrix, is that the matrix A should be exactly equal to the transpose conjugate of the matrix A itself. So if A is equal to A bar transpose, then such matrix is called as a Hermitian matrix. So this is the necessary condition, or it is also written as if A is equal to A raised to theta, where this A raised to theta is called as transpose conjugate of A. So if they are equal, then it is called as a Hermitian matrix. Or you can remember in other way that don't look at the diagonal elements. So other than diagonal elements, here if you see that for every ijth element and for every ijth element, if the ajth element for that, if it is conjugate of it, then it is called as a Hermitian matrix. Then next is a skew Hermitian matrix. So a square matrix A is equal to Aij will be called as a skew Hermitian matrix if every ijth element of A is equal to negative conjugate complex of jith element of A. In other words, that is Aij is equal to minus Aji bar. So all the elements of the principal diagonal will be of the form. So if I look at only the principal diagonal elements, then for this Aii will be equal to minus of Aii bar. So if I take this minus Ai bar on left hand side, then it will be Aii plus Ai bar, which is equal to 0. It means that the elements of the principal diagonal will be either 0, or if it is of the complex form like A plus Ib, then Aii bar will be equal to A minus Ib. So if I take the product of this, then it will be A plus Ib. If I take the addition of this like this, then that is Aii plus Aii bar, then it will be A plus Ib plus A minus Ib. It is again 0. So it implies that this twice A is equal to 0 or A is equal to 0. So Aii is either pure imaginary or it is either 0. So hence all the diagonal elements of a skew Hermitian matrix are either zeros or purely imaginary. This property you have to remember. So you have to look for the principal diagonal of the matrix, and the elements of the principal diagonal of the matrix are either 0 or they are purely imaginary. And other than that, for every ijth element, the jith element is a negative conjugate of it. So here you have to replace this 2 minus 3i. So here you have to replace this minus sign by plus, and you have to replace this whole bracket by a sign which is minus. So it is negative conjugate. So such matrix is called as a skew Hermitian matrix. So the necessary and sufficient condition for matrix A to be called as a skew Hermitian is that A raised to theta is equal to minus A. So the conjugate transpose of the matrix should be equal to minus of the matrix. This is the necessary condition. Then idempotent matrix. A matrix such that A square is equal to A is called as idempotent matrix. So if you have a matrix A like this, and if you take the square of this matrix, then it is again equal to the same matrix which is A, then such type of matrix is called as a idempotent matrix. Then the next is a periodic matrix. A matrix A will be called as a periodic matrix if A raised to k plus 1 is equal to A, where this k is a positive integer. If k is the least positive integer for which A raised to k plus 1 is equal to A, then this k is said to be the period of A. If we choose k is equal to 1, then we get A square is equal to 1. A square is equal to A, because this 1, k is equal to 1, so A raised to 1 plus 1, that is 2. So it is A square is equal to A. Then we can call it to be the idempotent matrix. and here this K is called as the period of the matrix. Then next is the nilpotent matrix. A matrix will be called as a nilpotent matrix if a raised to k is equal to 0, that is null matrix, where this k is a positive integer. If however this k is the least positive integer for which a raised to k is equal to 0, then this k is the index of the nilpotent matrix. So for example, if this a is equal to this, then if we find the a square, then this will be a into a, which is equal to 0. Then in this case, this a is called as a nilpotent matrix. Then a is a nilpotent matrix whose index is 2. So here this a square being 0, so we call that the nilpotent matrix has the index which is 2. If a raised to 3 is equal to 0, then we would have called this as a matrix A is a nilpotent matrix whose index is 3, and so on. Then involuntary matrix, a matrix A will be called as involuntary matrix if A square is equal to I, that is a unit matrix. Since I square is equal to I always, therefore the unit matrix is involuntary matrix. So you know that identity matrix multiplied by itself is equal to again an identity matrix, and therefore identity matrix is called as an involuntary matrix. So this is the property. Then equal matrices. So if they are of the same order, if the two matrices are of the same order and the elements corresponding to the positions of them, if they all the elements are also equal, then they are called as the equal matrices. Then the singular matrix. If the determinant of a matrix is 0, then the matrix is known as the singular matrix. For example, this A 1 2 3 6 is a singular matrix because if you take the determinant of it, then it will be 6 minus 6, which is 0. So such matrix is called as a singular matrix. Then next is the adjoint of a square matrix. Let the determinant of the square matrix be square matrix A be represented as mod of A. Then if this matrix A has the elements like this, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3, then the determinant of A, we know that it is written like this, determinant of this. Then the matrix formed by the cofactors of the elements of A is this capital A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. So what is mean by cofactors of cofactor matrix is here the cofactor of A1 is represented as capital A1, which is equal to the determinant of B2, B3, C2, C3. So this A1 is the cofactor of element which is A1, and the cofactor of this A1 is the determinant of this, that is B2, B3, C2, C3. Then the determinant, the matrix of the cofactor of this A2 is represented as capital A2, which is the determinant of B1, C1 and B3, C3. And so on. So sorry, A2 is B1, B3, C1, C3. For A2 it is B1, B3, C1, C3, yes, determinant, and so on. So this is the rule. Now here I am going to give you a simple trick that in order to find the adjoint of the matrix, first you need to find out the cofactors of each element. So cofactors of, in order to find the cofactor of A1, you have to take the determinant of these. In order to find the cofactor of A2, you have to find the determinant of B1, C1, B3, C3. For cofactor of A3, you have to find the determinant of B1, C1, B2, C2, and so on. Now here you have to simply remember that you have to make you have to draw a diagonal over here. You have to make a diamond type of shape over here for these positions. and you have to simply remember that for these positions you have to change the sign of the value of the determinant. That's it. So by simple this method we can be able to find the matrix of cofactors of A. So once instead of remembering this large method of remembering the cofactors of the matrix, simply you have to draw the diamond like shape over here, and for these positions of cofactors you have to just change the sign of the cofactors, whatever the sign. If it is plus, then you have to change to it to minus. If it is minus, then you have to change the sign to plus. So this is a simple trick. Then once you find the cofactors of the matrix A, then the transpose of the matrix of cofactors of A is called as the adjoint of A, and it is written as ADJ of A. Then next is the inverse of the matrix. If A and B are two square matrices of the same order, such that AB is equal to BA is equal to I, where I is the unit matrix, then B is called the inverse of A, that is B is equal to A inverse, and A is the inverse of B. Now the condition for the square matrix A to possess an inverse is that the matrix A is a non-singular, that is determinant of A should not be equal to 0. Then if A is a square matrix and B is its inverse, then AB is equal to I. Now taking determinant on both sides, we get determinant of AB is equal to determinant of I, or we can write that determinant of A into determinant of B is equal to I. So from this relation it is clear that the determinant of A should not be equal to 0. It means that the matrix should not, the matrix A is a non-singular matrix. It should not be a singular matrix. So this is the necessary condition to find the A inverse. Then since A into adjoint of A is equal to determinant of A into identity matrix, so this A into 1 upon determinant of A into adjoint of A, it should be the identity matrix. But we know the property that A into A inverse is equal to I, and therefore this is A, and it means that this should be the value of our A inverse. So 1 upon determinant of A into adjoint of A, it should be equal to A inverse, and therefore this is the value of A inverse. So in order to find the A inverse, what you have to find? You have to first find the determinant of A, and you have to check whether this is singular or non-singular. If it is singular, then we cannot find the inverse of the matrix. If it is non-singular, then only we can find out the inverse. So first you need to find the determinant of A, and then 1 upon determinant of A multiplied by adjoint of A, that will give you the value of A inverse. So now we are going to take the example to find the A inverse. So in this example you will have a clear understanding of how to find the adjoint of A, because in order to find the A inverse you first have to find the adjoint of A also. So in this example we are going to cover how to find the adjoint of A as well as the inverse of matrix A. So if this A is given as this matrix, then you have to find the A inverse. So first we find the determinant of A. So determinant of A will be equal to 3 into minus 3 minus minus plus 4 plus then this will be minus 3, that will be plus 3 into, this is 2 into 1, that is 2, minus 4 into 0, that is 0, plus 4 into 2 into minus 1, that is minus 2 minus 0, so that will be equal to 1. So since this determinant of A is non-zero, it means that it is non-singular, so we can find the inverse. Now the cofactors of the elements of various rows of A are, for the cofactor of this element will be equal to the determinant of this, which is minus 3 into minus minus plus 4. Then the determinant of this will be, the cofactor of this element will be equal to the determinant of 2, 0, 4, 1, and therefore it will be 2 minus 0. But here you have to replace the sign, so since here it comes as 2, so the sign will be minus 2, and so on. So the cofactor, you have to first find the cofactors of A. Then you have to take the transpose of that cofactors of A, so that you will get the adjoint of A. So here you have to replace the rows by columns, so you will get the adjoint of A, and therefore now A inverse will be equal to 1 upon the determinant of A multiplied by adjoint of A, so that will give you the A inverse. So this is how we can find out the A inverse. Now we are going to take two more problems from the previous year question papers. So let us take one problem from IIT JAM 2005, that which of the following is incorrect for the matrix M, which is 0 1 1 0, and here are the options, that it is A is it is its own inverse, B it is its own transpose, C it is non-orthogonal, and D it has eigenvalues which is plus minus 1. So now first find first remember that here it is given in bold that you have to find out what is the incorrect of the following options. So we check one by one. First we find what is the A inverse, this M inverse. So this M inverse is equal to 1 upon mod of M into this. If you find this, then you will come to know that it is again the same matrix M. So it means that the option A is correct, that is it is its own inverse. So matrix M is its own inverse, so A is correct. Then let us check for the second option. So thus the given matrix is its own inverse, this is first option. Then the we find what is the transpose of this M. Just follow the process of finding the transpose. You have to replace just the rows by columns and columns by rows, and again by doing this process you will get the same matrix M back. So option B is also correct. Then let us check the third condition, whether the matrix is orthogonal or not. So we have seen the condition for orthogonality. We have seen the property of orthogonality of a matrix. That a square matrix A is called an orthogonal matrix if the product of the matrix A and the transpose of matrix A dash is an identity matrix. So you can try it yourself. Here this is my matrix 0 1 1 0, and if you multiply this by its transpose, which is again the same matrix, which is 0 1 1 0, if you find the product, then you will see that it is a identity matrix, which is 1 0 0 1. So it also follows the orthogonality property. So in the option it is given that it is non-orthogonal, so it is not the correct one, and you have to identify the incorrect one. So this is the answer, that is C. So there is no need to find no need to look or check for the answer, which is D. And also we have not discussed about the eigenvalue in this lecture. We are going to discuss how to find the eigenvalues in the Then one more problem from IIT JAM 2008 examination, that the product PQ of any two real symmetric matrices P and Q is, which of the following is correct? So a matrix is symmetric if its transpose is equal to the matrix itself. So this is the property of the symmetric matrix, that if its transpose is equal to the matrix itself, it is called as symmetric matrix. Now hence for the matrix which is P into Q, PQ transpose, it should be equal to Q transpose into P transpose, due to this property, which is AB raised to this A into B transpose is equal to B transpose into A transpose. So this is the property which you have to remember. And therefore if Q and P are symmetric matrices, then Q transpose is equal to Q and P transpose is also equal to P, because this is the property of the symmetric matrices. So hence PQ transpose should be equal to QP, So it is easily seen that PQ transpose will be equal to PQ only if QP is equal to PQ, and hence the option C is the correct option. So option C is the correct one. Okay, so we are going to discuss more about the matrices in the coming lectures. So please provide, if you like the lecture, then please provide a review for the course if you like it. You can do this by visiting the review section as shown below on our website, which is 4piacademy.com. You may also ask questions in the comment section of a lecture, which will allow us to serve you better. Okay, so please leave your reply over here in the comment section. Thank you.